that gave Tampa Bay a 30-10 lead. Just before the 2-minute warning, Cincinnati recorded the game's final touchdown, but it wasn't enough to keep the Buccaneers from recording a 30-17 win over the Bengals. Well, of course, many folks are still saying it was only a preseason game, but hey, I think the coaching staff would agree you'd rather start off with a victory, right? Well, as I mentioned earlier, we're coming to you live from Jacksonville, Florida, city that is starving for an NFL franchise. And as the fans fill this place, we're going to throw it over to Mr. Gene Deckerhoff and Paul Kennedy, who are standing by with us.
Yeah, and take a look at this crowd. They have sold 45,000 tickets. They are expecting 50 plus. And hey, Jacksonville is buzzing. Welcome back to the Gator Bowl. Thank you very much.
The Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida. The place is coming alive for tonight's ball game between the Bucs and the Patriots. A good look now at the Swashbucklers as they entertain this crowd filling in for tonight's ball game. You know, regardless of what level of football you're talking about, the team is only as good as the guys up front. We're talking about the offensive linemen. But what sort of guy grows up to be an offensive lineman? We posed that question to rookie Tony Mayberry.
You have to be very self-motivated, I think, to be off the line, because a lot of people aren't going to be cheering for you. Your name's never going to be mentioned, you know, over the PA system unless, you know, it's for holding or something like that. And I think you just have to be very self-disciplined to be offensive lineman and willing to be the workhorse, willing to be the blue-collar guy.
They'll say it's the last stop for the bus stop. You know, that's what they told me in college anyway. You know, they take the best athletes on defense, and you just got to, you know, be pretty smart to play offensive line, and you're not always the best athlete.
You know, the thing you'll find out is most of them, you know, probably didn't grow up thinking they were going to be offensive linemen. You know, you probably were a skill player or something in high school, and you know, just never stopped growing, I guess.
The Big Ten's a good conference and all, but you know, when you get to the NFL, it's always going to be a step above what you've been playing. But it just took a couple plays to get all the cobwebs out, and then it was just like playing in a college game, really. You know, the caliber is higher, but then you just got to step your own level up a little bit higher and just play hard.
I think we're going to be a good run blocking team. We've always been a good pass blocking team. We've never had any question about our pass blocking abilities. What we need to do is get better and get more coordinated with the backfield. But we're going to be better in that area, I guarantee you.
I'm starting to get a greater appreciation for what guys go through when they play pro football. It's a lot of work. I'm starting to see why not everybody can do this.
Yes, it never is as easy as it looks, is it? Now let's talk defense, and we're going to start with a couple of guys that have been working together for a long time. Mark Robinson and Harry Hamilton.
I have today
Robinson and I working together. I mean, that's a plus. You can't trade off that. You can't downplay that in any way. I know what Mark is thinking sometimes when he takes a step in one direction.
I can't go anywhere without my wingman. He's the guy. We talk so much out there, and we've grown so much the past couple years that, you know, we're really, you know, at the top of our game when we play, and we keep each other alert out on the field. We, you know, recognize certain situations, certain formations, things like that, and make the other one aware of them.
You always, when you get at this level of coaching, you got great athletes, and you try to take that advantage and give them the right to do with their physical ability, what they can do, and that's what you know, you try to incorporate in your defensive structure.
Everybody's looking pretty good, you know, as far as the secondary goes. You know, we have a lot of competition, you know, battling back there, so everybody just got to work hard and, you know, try to do their best.
Right now, I think that I'm trying to, you know, in a sense, maybe crawl into the minds of offensive coaches to see what they're trying to do, you know, throughout the team, what they're trying to do in terms of the philosophy of the offense that they're throwing against us. And I think through that you can get an idea of, the patterns that they're going to run, what they're going to look for, what's the primary receiver, the secondary receiver, that kind of thing, and becoming more of a student of the game.
Tonight, the Buccaneers are back in action on your 44. 8 p.m. WTOG proudly presents the Bucs' second preseason game.
Welcome back to Jacksonville, Florida, the Gator Bowl, where tonight the Bucs will take on the New England Patriots. We're joined now by Buccaneer owner Hugh Culverhouse. Hugh, first off, is it good to be back home?
It's great. This is home. This is the first place the Bucs ever won a game. Beat the Atlanta Falcons here in a preseason one.
Talk to us a little bit about bringing the game here this year.
Yeah. Well, I think it was a good opportunity. We wanted to be here in Jacksonville at the Gator Bowl, and the New England Patriots needed a place to play. And Tom Petway stepped up to the plate and said, Jacksonville would like to have you.
Earlier we talked about what a difference a day makes. Last year, a lot of talk about the Buccaneers going to Orlando to play a few games. A year has made a big difference, hasn't it?
We're home in Tampa for good. Yes, we have a very good team. We have optimism. We have good attitude. We should still make it in the playoffs. From there, who knows?
I know you mentioned 11 wins. Is that putting any pressure on your head coach here?
Well, so be it if it is. I think Ray agrees with me. We have the best talent. We have the best opportunity. We should make it 11-5.
What do you like about this year's team?
Mostly the talent. We have more talent. We have competition at every position, and we have some more experience. Last year was the youngest team in the history of the NFL. This year, those young fellas have had another year of training, and they're eager to go out and win.
Lastly, I think a lot of fans are wondering if you could maybe comment a little bit on the Ricky Reynolds situation.
Well, we predicted that Ricky would be the last player to be signed. That's the history of his agent. His agent keeps players out thinking we'll change. We know what we'll pay Ricky. He knows what it'll be. Hopefully Ricky will be in next week.
Hugh, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, and the Buccaneers are going to win this year.
Bucs owner Hugh Culverhouse. Last week we introduced you to one of the former Buccaneers, Dave Logan. He joins us again tonight on this edition of Countdown to Kickoff.
Continental Cablevision and Avondale Travel.
Major League Baseball uses the minor leagues or farm system to develop the skills and talents of young players before they're sent to the big leagues. The National Hockey League uses a similar system. The NFL, they get their players from the colleges. But recently, the NFL instituted a developmental squad where teams can protect and groom talent.
And as you look at the
Bucs have several players on the roster that were on developmental squads last season. Two have surfaced as future stars. Quarterback Jeff Carlson and running back John Harvey.
Well, yeah, I think it helped me because I had a chance to learn the system, So I think the development squad helped me a pretty lot.
Cincinnati secondary.
The only thing different was that you would practice all week and you just wouldn't go on the road trips. That's all, and playing the games on Sundays.
Thought it was great for the young guys, and it was a chance to develop your guys. That's why they called it development squad. You had some guys that were real borderline. You thought they might be a great player next year, and you had a chance to bring them in and work them in your program all year. I thought it was great, and plus, like I said, it created 5 extra jobs a year, and I hate to see that go.
The developmental squad is no more, but with talk of a new spring or international league, could this become a farm system? Maybe. We'll just have to wait and see.
Well, Dave, I think that is definitely going to work. You probably will see some players in these new football leagues eventually playing in the NFL. You have to think back to the USFL, a guy like Gary Anderson. And then there's Ray Seals, a present member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, never went to college, was playing semi-pro football and touch football. So it's a reality. The players that will play in these new leagues may end up playing in the NFL. As I mentioned earlier, we're coming to you live from the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida, for this special edition of Countdown to Kickoff that will continue right after these. After Well, welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. I'm Bob Alvarez. In just a few moments, Ray Perkins will have his team on the field for their second preseason game of the year. And, Coach, first off, the quarterback situation tonight, who's going to play when and how much?
Well, Bob, we're going to play Vinny at least the first quarter, maybe a little bit into the second quarter, and come in with David Smith, a young man from Alabama who didn't play last year. And then the second half, we're going to give the entire second half to Chris Chandler.
What sort of things would you like to see Chandler get done on the field tonight?
Well, you know, with a limited number of reps, I'd just like to see him go through without any big blunders, you know, and he's not real sharp at this point. He can't be expected to be, but I think he's picked up our offense extremely well in a very, very short period of time, and I think he'll do very well. But I'd just like to see our entire team playing a little bit higher level from a consistency standpoint than we did last week.
Are there some players that you need to get a better look at than others?
Well, some that we got a little bit of a look at last week that we didn't get quite as much playing time as we'd like to. Some of our running backs, a couple of our corners, a couple of defensive linemen for the most part. But hopefully we'll get those guys in the game tonight and see a little bit more of them. And hopefully on offense, I want to see our backs run the ball a little bit more so than we did last week. We wound up throwing it a little bit more than we ran it last week. But and defensively, I'd like to see a little bit more consistent play up front in our front seven, our linebackers, and our defensive line as far as playing against the run.
Are your rookies, your linebackers, McCanson, Broderick, are you happy with what you saw from them last week?
I'm very happy with the progress that they've made. Yes, I am. Broderick played real well last week. He made a couple of mistakes, but he played a solid football game. And Keith McCants played about like you'd expect a rookie to play. But he's got the capabilities of making a lot of big plays, and he will as time goes along, but it's just going to take him a little time to pick it up.
You have Mark Carrier back. How much will he play tonight?
Mark will play about the first quarter. Mark and Gary Anderson, a few guys like that, will play about the same as Vinny would play, and then we'll start substituting.
You mentioned consistency more both offensively and defensively.
Well, offensively consistency in our running game, defensively consistency in stopping their running game.
It's been a while since you've been here at the Gator Bowl. Can you talk to us a little bit about your last experience here?
Well, so I was asked that in the press conference the other day, and I fouled that all up, I think, because I read in the paper the next day where we lost to Oakland. But the last time I was here, I think it was like in 1968 or either 1969 when we played the Raiders here in a preseason.